How could one man get three completely different characters to main event status? How did he transition from a hardcore icon to a beloved fan favorite? What made Mick Foley one of the most unique performers in wrestling history? Mick Foley's career is one of the most remarkable journeys in professional wrestling history. A man who was never the biggest, fastest, or most athletic, Foley made up for it with an unmatched ability to connect with the audience, take punishment beyond human limits, and reinvent himself in ways few wrestlers ever could. But what truly made him stand out was his ability to bring three drastically different characters to life, each with its own personality, wrestling style, and legacy. His story is not just about hardcore wrestling and brutal matches, it is about evolution. From the deranged and tormented Mankind to the bloodthirsty and fearless Cactus Jack and the fun-loving and eccentric Dude Love, Foley found a way to make each persona work in an era dominated by larger-than-life superstars. But before he became the man of three faces in the WWF, he had to prove himself in other promotions, laying the groundwork for one of the most compelling careers of all time. Before he was known as Mankind or Dude Love, Foley first gained national recognition under the name Cactus Jack, a character that would later become one of the most dangerous and violent in professional wrestling. Foley started his wrestling career in the mid-1980s, working for smaller promotions before landing in WCW in 1989. As Cactus Jack, he quickly developed a reputation for his reckless style, throwing his body onto concrete floors and taking unprotected chair shots with a level of brutality that was unheard of at the time. His most infamous moment in WCW came in 1994 during a match against Big Van Vader in Germany. In one of the most gruesome accidents in wrestling history, Foley's head became entangled in the ropes during a routine spot, and in the chaos, he lost a significant portion of his right ear. The injury only added to the mystique of Cactus Jack, proving that Foley was willing to endure anything for his craft. Despite his growing popularity, WCW never saw him as a top star. Frustrated with the company's creative direction, Foley left in 1994 and made his way to ECW in 1995. In ECW, Foley further refined his Cactus Jack character, delivering some of the most passionate and psychological promos of his career. His feuds with Terry Funk, the Sandman, and Tommy Dreamer cemented his status as one of the toughest wrestlers in the business. However, one of his most controversial moments came when he turned against hardcore wrestling itself, mocking ECW's bloodthirsty fans and aligning himself with anti-hardcore values, while still engaging in brutal matches. His work in ECW caught the attention of Vince McMahon, and in 1996, Mick Foley was given a shot in the WWF, but not as Cactus Jack. Instead, he was about to take on a whole new persona. When Mick Foley debuted in the WWF in April 1996, he was introduced as Mankind, a deeply disturbed, masked individual who wore a tattered brown outfit, squealed in agony, and used the mandible claw as a finishing move. Gone were the cowboy boots and brawling style of Cactus Jack. Instead, Mankind was something entirely different. A psychologically broken man with a tragic backstory. Mankind's initial run in the WWF was dark, eerie, and violent. He had one of the most intense rivalries of his career with The Undertaker, which led to brutal matches like the first ever Boiler Room Brawl at SummerSlam 1996. This match established Mankind as a dangerous and unhinged character, and in a shocking twist, Paul Bearer betrayed The Undertaker to align himself with Foley, solidifying Mankind as a top villain. Over the next 2 years, Mankind was involved in some of the most brutal matches in WWF history, including the infamous Hell in a Cell match against The Undertaker at King of the Ring. Foley suffered two of the most unforgettable bumps in wrestling history that night, being thrown off the top of the cell through a table and later chokeslammed through the roof of the structure, crashing onto the mat below. This match not only cemented Foley's legacy, but also earned him the respect of fans and fellow wrestlers alike. But as time went on, Mankind began to evolve. Instead of a horror movie monster, he started showing a more comedic and sympathetic side. A lonely, misunderstood character who just wanted acceptance. This transition would set the stage for one of the most beloved partnerships in WWF history. While still portraying Mankind, Foley introduced a new alter ego, one completely different from his previous characters. Dude Love was the groovy, fun-loving persona that Foley had dreamed up as a teenager. Dude Love made his debut in 1997 when Stone Cold Steve Austin needed a tag team partner to challenge for the WWF Tag Team Championships. Dude Love was the complete opposite of both Mankind and Cactus Jack. He was goofy, charismatic, and seemingly oblivious to his own lack of coolness. While he never reached the same level of success as the other two personas, his brief feud with Austin in 1998 and his alignment with Vince McMahon as the corporate champion provided one of the more unique character arcs in Foley's career. By the end of 1998, Foley's transformations had become a running theme in his career. In mid-1999, on an episode of Raw, Mankind won the WWF Championship against The Rock. This was a major turning point in the Monday Night Wars. After Eric Bischoff told fans that Mick Foley would be winning the title that night, many viewers switched from watching WCW and tuned into the WWF. This was by far the most definitive moment of Mick Foley's career. As the year 2000 approached, and when he needed to turn up the intensity for a violent feud with Triple H, he didn't do it as Mankind or Dude Love. He brought back Cactus Jack. This version of Foley was the most dangerous and relentless, engaging in two legendary matches against Triple H. A street fight at the Royal Rumble and Hell in a Cell at No Way Out, which served as his retirement match. Cactus Jack was the final phase of Foley's in-ring career, representing his ultimate form in terms of brutality and resilience. Though his full-time wrestling career was over, Foley found a new role as WWF Commissioner, a position that allowed him to showcase his charismatic and comedic abilities without taking bumps. As Commissioner, Foley became one of the most entertaining parts of WWF programming, engaging in hilarious backstage segments with Vince McMahon, The Rock, Kurt Angle, and Edge and Christian. His tenure as Commissioner solidified his place as one of the most beloved figures in wrestling, proving that he didn't need to wrestle to be a major part of the show. Mick Foley's ability to create and embody three distinct characters is one of the most impressive feats in wrestling history. Few men could switch between Mankind, Cactus Jack, and Dude Love so seamlessly, yet Foley made each of them unforgettable. His career wasn't just about hardcore wrestling, it was about storytelling, evolution, and a deep connection with the fans. And in the end, it didn't matter if he was taking chair shots, winning championships, or making people laugh, because Mick Foley always found a way to entertain.